Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new landscape photography vlog. Here we are at Evangola State Park, and today it's been a very interesting day to say the least. I think I got here around maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now you might be saying that's pretty early, you know, landscape photographers, you guys are usually shooting sunrise or sunset. That is normally the case, most of the time, not all the time. But today we did have a severe thunderstorm roll up from the southwestern part of Lake Erie, and it came crashing right up through the coast here, right up along this park, one of my favorite places on earth, Evangola State Park. And I showed up, I want to say maybe at the wrong time. I definitely showed up a lot later than I should have, because by the time I got here, things already started going haywire. Hail, probably about the size of a marble-sized hail to pea-sized hail. It was pretty intense. A lot of lightning, heavy rain, and I did spend the first couple hours trying to photograph the stormier part of the day so far. I did manage to capture at least one bolt of lightning, so I'm happy about that. And it was over the mainland part of the park, not over the coast like I've done before in a previous vlog. So that's a nice little thing to add to sort of the portfolio, the collection of photos I have for this place. If I got anything else, I'll have to check. I probably took like 400 photos using the intervalometer, and I was actually taking them out of my truck. Just had the window rolled down. It was way too rainy to want to get out and try to fight that battle. So was able to snipe some solid frames out of the window with an intervalometer, and I had my camera up on another tripod, which is the tripod that this is currently on. So it's been a whirlwind, but now that things have kind of calmed down a little bit, there's no rain right now. It's just a little windy, but the nice thing is that with how much rain we just got, this park kind of has transformed into something I really haven't seen it before. All three seasonal falls are flowing. I really shouldn't call them falls. All three seasonal streams are flowing really strong. There's seasonal cascades, ephemeral cascades, rolling off of Farnham Point over there. You got some stuff coming over here off what I call it the upper stream. Even the middle stream is flowing, which is pretty much always bone dry. Unless we get, a ton of rain in a very short period of time. The lower one is just completely bananas right now. Chocolate milk looking water, and now we're starting to get some pretty dappled light here as the clouds are starting to open up in little areas, which is kind of cool. I prefer it actually to be a little bit more flat for what I was trying to do, which we'll get to in a moment. We're going to head out onto the beach, try to take some abstracts. I was here the other day trying to do some driftwood abstracts. Some things worked, some things didn't work, but we're going to focus on the small, and got a couple interesting things to talk about. Well, one main interesting point that I kind of want to make the subject of this video, kind of while I'm out here, just kind of talk and shoot, and I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this proposed idea. Yeah, the sun is coming out quite a bit right now, which is kind of crazy considering the type of weather that we just had. Severe thunderstorm, and I mean, as you'd expect, those things are very short-lived. They're here for an hour and then they're gone. But it has left everything nice and wet. A lot of the trees, their bark has that nice dark, rich color. And we're starting to get some dappled sunlight too, which looks really good right now. I'm not sure how good it's gonna look for this particular scene that I'm trying to shoot right here, but we'll see. I put the polarizer on. That's one of the reasons I walked back here. I was way down in the end of the beach. I walked back here just to swap lenses under the gazebo. Yeah, I want to focus on some abstracts. I've been kind of inspired a lot lately to try to photograph these types of things, and I just want to try my hand at it. That's really the gist of it, honestly. I like the idea of, especially on a beach like this, I mean, you're going to have millions of different combinations of patterns that are going to come and go over time. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like aerial, like abstract stuff, and they get some crazy shots of stuff that, I mean, they have two things going for them, obviously. One, I mean, the scenery is incredible. Two, you're capturing it from a perspective you're never really used to seeing it from. That's the other thing. So I'm just trying to make sure my polarizer is 100%. I'm at aperture priority, ISO 100 f8. I might try and focus stack this. 2-second shutter release delay. And I'm just gonna tap around the whole photo here and try to get a good focus stack. I tried to push my tripod as far into the sand as I could, just so it doesn't move. I did have my 24-200 on, but I don't have a polarizer for that yet. I think it's a 67mm thread. So wanted to switch over to this because I think a polarizer could go a long way here. So I'm just gonna sink this as deep as I can and really just try to focus in on some of these really beautiful patterns. And that's what it kind of reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of an aerial view. You know, once I do a crop on this, which I think I'm going to, and crop out some of the other features, that kind of gives it away what it is that I'm shooting. It should help with that illusion. It's just a lot of these crazy looking patterns. I'm not really sure what causes it. I'm not sure if it's like the waves kind of washing away the top layer of sand and showing a deeper layer of sand that has a slightly different color for whatever reason. It just looks absolutely phenomenal, and I really just wanted to stop and capture it at a couple different points. There's even some different textures over here where the water is kind of rippling a lot. All right, so I'm gonna try to reposition here. And again, I'll probably spend a good chunk of time right here just messing around with stuff, you know? Really try to make it work, right? Because I feel like sometimes I have this happen to me where, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I get lazy or if I get impatient. But sometimes I'll just try on something. It won't work. But in my mind, I'll be like, oh, that probably worked, right? And then I'll think I have something. And then I'll go back into Lightroom, you know, mess with some crops, things like that, and be like, okay, I did have it. I just didn't take enough time to, you know, really see, I guess, observe better. Because I was just getting impatient, rushed, all those types of things. And a lot of these I probably will do focus stacks, just because I want the whole thing to be tack sharp. And that looks pretty nice. I'm gonna kind of just chill out for now and just kind of watch stuff. That looks really nice right there. Speaking of focus stacking, I figured I'd mention this. If you've ever had trouble focus stacking in Photoshop, I know I have, especially with more like complex things like wildflowers in the foreground, really up and close to the camera. Photoshop most of the time fails miserably to do a proper focus stack. So if any of you who focus stack very frequently or have wanted to focus stack frequently or have shied away because of Photoshop, I recommend Helicon Focus. I'll try to leave a link to the download. There's a free trial. I highly recommend trying it. And I think it's only like $55 a year or something, or $200 for life, which is a pretty great deal. It does a really damn good job, especially when you compare it to Photoshop. So I figured I'd just toss that out there. For anybody who is unaware, it's definitely opened me up to doing a lot more focus stacking, which is great because I feel like a lot of things deserve to be focus stacked. Not always, but it's just nice having that peace of mind knowing that I've got that piece of software that's going to help me get the job done. Just waiting for the sun to kind of go away before I move on to another scene. So the topic of discussion today, I mean, it's certainly not a big topic. It's more like just my question to the audience. And that is, in your opinion, how much does the location matter in landscape, nature, photography, whatever you want to call it? How much does the location matter? And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, only because, you know, I've probably never consumed this much sort of like content when it comes to photography, like looking at other people's works, looking at their style, you know, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc. I've really been, I don't want to say study, but just kind of exposing myself to a lot of these different techniques, these different places, these different ideas, different ways to go about taking photos, right, than I'm typically used to doing. And, you know, of course, a lot of the places that you see, the really hard-hitting photos are from places that are, you know, known for being some of the most picturesque places on the planet. And it kind of got me thinking. I'm like, you know, obviously whoever took the photo put a tremendous amount of effort into taking the photo, framing it in a compelling way, editing it properly, you know, to make it look really good. But is that, you know, load of doing that, is it lessened because of the place that you're photographing, right? Like if you're taking a picture in Death Valley versus taking a picture at, I'll just use a local example here, Evangola State Park, right? Is the person who takes a picture at Death Valley a more validated and renowned photographer because they're getting these crazy images from a absolutely beautiful location versus somebody shooting local because they have to, right? And I mean, I don't have anything wrong with shooting local. I love shooting local. But it just kind of got the gears turning, I guess. And yeah, that's really about it. Like, how much, in your opinion, does location matter in landscape photography? That's just the question. I don't really have too much else to say other than, like, it's just interesting, right? I've just been thinking about it. And I don't have any ill thought towards my locations and, you know, trying to compare them to other places. Nothing like that. It's just an interesting idea. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to talk about it, but I figured I might as well just bring it up as an interesting topic of discussion. Feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Just messing around with some dappled light on this water right here. It does have this kind of chocolate milk-esque color to it, and when the sunlight hits it, it kind of turns this really nice bronze color. And then, of course, you have all the rapids, that white water, adding for a lot of nice lines and texture. Probably won't focus stack this just because everything's moving. I might go up to F11. That'll drag the shutter just a little bit longer too. Yeah, it looks very painterly. That's what I love. I love big, wide landscapes, and recently I've just really developed a love for really close-up stuff. Just because, and I don't know if I've said this before, but like, you can do it whenever and you can do it wherever, right? So long as you find something interesting and you really try your best in the field, you know, composition-wise, to really, you know, frame the scene up to show the viewer in the best way possible what you see. You know, show them what you think is so interesting. And the better job you can do that in the field, in camera, you know, of course, the better the photo will look in the end. That's really what it comes down to. And I like that process of trying to have to learn this new idea of really trying to carefully compose things, especially when you get really zoomed in on these very small, intimate scenes. That's when framing things, even just by a centimeter, really matters. You know, 1 centimeter might as well be 1 mile at the end of the day. crazy light rays out there. The water spout sure would be nice right now, I'll tell you that. But kind of getting back to the question I was asking earlier, I guess another reason I kind of bring it up is because I myself, in the past, and I guess currently, I felt a little bit discouraged by looking at other photos from other places that I don't necessarily have access to, right? It'd be nice to travel the world, but of course right now I don't have the ability to do so. And I am content, of course, like I said earlier, with the places that I have to shoot at, but it's really easy to fall into the trap of looking at other people's work who have had the ability and the time to go to these other incredible places, and to try to compare that to your stuff if you shoot solely local is really not a great thing to do to begin with. I mean, comparing yourself to others is not a great thing to do in general. So don't fall in the trap. If you felt discouraged by it, don't worry, you're not alone. I, too, myself have felt that way, and I'm sure countless others have as well. You just got to kind of remember, and this is what I always think to myself, like, yeah, Death Valley, New Zealand, just to name a couple random places, they're very beautiful, no doubt, and a lot of people have photographed them, a lot. And not to say that that's really a bad thing, but us local photographers really do have something going for ourselves. If you think about the fact that the places that we shoot are less photographed, lesser known, so when we do share our stuff around, we have the ability to bring really unique stuff to the table that most of the people who have been in this, industry for a long time haven't been exposed to, and we know it like the back of our hand, and we're able to bring the absolute best out of it and say this is what we bring to the table. And it's very refreshing a lot of the times, and I feel like that's an advantage us local photographers really have. Now, I'd love to go out to Death Valley, New Zealand, Australia, Patagonia, all these amazing places, and maybe I will someday if I'm lucky. I actually will be going out to the Pacific Northwest sort of on a family trip, so hopefully I can get some great photos out there. But don't feel discouraged by it. Be proud of the places that you have to shoot at, and don't waste time comparing yourself to other people, because it's just a thought process trap, I guess. So yeah, words of encouragement. But the sun has gone away, which is actually a good thing. So I'm going to continue my search for just a couple more abstracts and see what we can pull out. Well, look what we have here. A piece of what I assume to be firewood, or what once was firewood, have just been perfectly placed here for me to take a picture of. Also, another thing I want to bring up, not necessarily related to what I was talking about earlier, is don't ever delete old photos. And I'm sure most of you don't do that anyways. But I guess what I should say is don't forget to look through your old photos. Because I don't know how many times, and I've done this recently as I continue to work on this photo book, is I find so many photos that, when I probably took them, I didn't think too much about them. But after the fact, months later, I look at them and thinking, what was I doing? Why did I never edit this? This is, low-key one of the best shots that I took there that day. It's very weird how that happens. Because I think, and one of my friends told me this recently, we kind of get caught up in the moment with what we think is our best, or what the best stuff we got was. So we tend to kind of just forget everything else. And that probably just happens like subconsciously. And again, you're also so used to your own work that when you go back and see something slightly different, I feel like it has more of an appeal just because it's different, right? You like what you don't have. That's why I've just grown somewhere accustomed to being like, going and shooting in completely different conditions, like the storm we had today. Because it's so different, the mood is so different, the vibe is so different than just shooting a classic sunrise or sunset. Apologize in advance if the audio is weird up until now, because I just realized that the cable on my mic was not fully plugged in. And if you can tell by the shadows that I'm casting, it's probably pretty easy to see why I prefer if the sun were behind the clouds. But just more sand texture. I haven't really seen anything super great, but right back near the exit, I guess one of the exits of the beach, really seeing a whole lot of stuff here. And honestly, the shadow crawl on some of this stuff might actually help. It's just so hard framing it when you got the sun in your eyes. That's one of the biggest challenges. It's not very comfortable standing in this position either. No clue if those will work. Which is weird. I would think, I'd want sun for something like this, but too much sun. And the shadows get harsh, the highlights get too harsh. Just gotta wait for the sun to cooperate. So I think I'm gonna take another stab at this one. I'm gonna go vertical. Polarizer is really helping too. That tripod shadow, really not helping me. Just gonna have to wait it out. Finally, the clouds have blocked the sun. Finally. Finally. Never thought I'd be the type of person to say that. But this stuff really just looks 1,000 times better when the sun is blocked. Oh, this looks so good. I say that now. But if it looks good in Lightroom, if you get that butterfly feeling in Lightroom, then you're good. I've learned to not trust the LCD screen, right? It's deceiving, and here comes the sun again. Here comes the sun. So there goes my fun. Gotta wait now. And then I'll probably get out of here since I've been here for several hours. I'm gonna go for something in the water here. And just as I try to frame it up, there comes the sun. The idea is to make this seem like an aerial photo, or at least give it the illusion. I think down here might be better. Of course, I'm disturbing the water as I go. All right, the sun is back. Now we wait. Now I'm just gonna zoom in on this. I think this is a vertical. Right now, I might be going a little too fast, but I am enjoying this, so. And the thing is, it's not like the sand won't be here tomorrow, or the next day, or the next day, or the next day, or the next day, right? Like, this stuff will always be here, and next time I'm here, it might look slightly different. So that's the upside to that. I kind of want to tilt up a little bit more. Yeah, waiting for the sun actually kind of forces me to think a little bit harder about the composition itself, which is good, kind of forcing me to take my time. I think that will wrap things up. I don't know what time it is right now, but I've been here for a very long time. I feel like this was a really worthwhile session, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little foray into something different, I guess. I don't know, because usually my vlogs don't have like a purpose in mind, you know, and that's probably a pretty bad idea on my part. I probably should have an idea in my head of what I want to talk about and what I want to show. But I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog with a little bit of extra substance attached to it, kind of posing a question. I think if you guys like this style, where like I just go out and shoot, bring you guys along with me, and I ask you guys questions, you can ask me questions. I want these to be very casual. I don't want these to be super over the top, you know what I mean? Just going out and take photos, and I bring you guys along. Because half the time, that's all I can really focus on, right? I try to focus as much as I can on the actual photos, so. But today I had a plan, and it felt good. Maybe I should plan things out more often, right? But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think location matters in landscape photography? Do you think it plays any sort of role? Do people have an advantage by being able to shoot all around the world versus local photographers? You know, I already said my piece on it, but again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And that's going to do it here at Evan Gola State Park. I'll see you guys around.